What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. And if you are watching this on the day of release, and that is Christmas Day all around the nations and all around the world, thank you so much for tuning in. I promise I will be talking less than usual because this video is not about me. In this video, we are going to be getting perspectives from everyone, not just me, not just you, because Christmas and the holidays in general are all about a time of giving, and I want to give you guys the opportunity to listen to other people's opinions on what is your or what is their favorite Christmas movie of all time. I thought about this video for so long. What was I going to do? What movies am I going to talk about? But instead of giving you guys like a top 10 list or a top 15 list, most of the movies that you're going to hear about today are in my top 10, and I will do something special for that eventually. But today, I want you guys to hear from everyone else. I will talk about my favorite Christmas movie more towards the end, and I'll put the time code in the description, but there's a lot more than just my favorite Christmas movie, and I cannot wait to hear and see what you guys thought. So I put the call out on Stardust, on Twitter, on YouTube. I said, I need your all's help. I need you guys to be a part of this collaboration, and thank you to everyone that participated. I tried my absolute best to find everyone that I could, so everyone in this video is hopefully everyone that participated. If I missed you, if you're supposed to be in there and you weren't in there, I am so sorry. I literally looked for everyone that I could, but I saw some incredible opinions. I heard some really funny stories, some heartfelt tales. There is a lot in this video, and there are so many movies, not just the one that you think are going to be in this little compilation, but there are movies that you may have never heard of before, and you will see that passion and you will think to yourself, maybe I should go check that one out because it's still Christmas. We still have another week of Christmas goodness, and then comes the new year, and then y'all need to unplug your lights and take down your Christmas tree. Before we get into the It's a Wonderful Lives and the Home Alones of the world, let's talk about some more obscure movies that were voted for. And also some movies that didn't receive as many votes as I thought they would, like Christmas Vacation and The Grinch and Rudolph barely got voted for, which surprised me because those are some of my favorite movies, but the ones who voted for them were very passionate. And let's take a look.
First off, Die Hard, don't at me. I don't care where you stand on the debate. To me, it's a Christmas movie, and I sometimes need a little edge in my holiday. Second, Elf, it's just so joyful and quotable and always makes me smile, and smiling is my favorite. And then Muppet Christmas Carol. It is just the best Christmas Carol that's ever been done. It is perfection, hilarious screenplay. Each of the Muppets is perfectly cast. I love it.
Because only the Jim Henson Company and Michael Caine's performance could make you feel like these Muppets made out of felt and plastic and cloth are living, breathing entities that help embody what the spirit of Christmas actually is. And they totally do.
And my personal favorite Christmas movie that I watch every year is the musical version of Scrooge. It's got everything that's great about the story, and it has some truly memorable songs that get stuck in my head every time.
And it's a really dark Looney Tunes episode that has a lot to say about how we act as consumers during this time of year and how we affect and influence each other by acting like such monsters because we don't know how to embrace the true holiday spirit, and how can we?
It's voted like one of the worst movies made, has a terrible Rotten Tomatoes score. No one's ever even really heard of it, but it's like a tradition I have, and I love it. It's super quirky, all about Christmas.
Sometimes you can wait too long to make a sequel to a film. We saw that with Zoolander 2 and Dumb and Dumber 2, but sometimes time can be a sequel's best friend, and that's what I felt like with Best Man Holiday. It's a worthy sequel to the original.
Today we pulled out Scrooged, and it is a very special film to me because my stepfather is in it. That's him right there during the segment of The Ghost of Christmas Past at the 1968 office Christmas party. He passed away in 2012, but I love that I can just still spend the holiday with him through this movie.
It is just a beautiful production that tells a story that is so sweet and timeless, and that is why it is one of my favorite Christmas films.
This movie is one of my favorite comedies, easily hands down one of my favorite Christmas movies. I'm a huge fan of vulgar R-rated comedies, and when you combine it with my favorite holiday, it's a match made in heaven, and they did it so well with this movie.
So back in the day, I actually performed A Christmas Carol on stage, being Scrooge, and ever since I've absolutely loved The story, absolutely incredible.
Most Christmas movies like to emphasize what it's like to spend time with the people they know or the miracles that happen around this time. But this movie is around to show what it's like for people who don't have anyone to go back to, and instead tried to spend the goodwill of Christmas through essentially trying to give a second chance to someone who's just been born. It's still my favorite Christmas film, easily my favorite Saoirse Cohen film. Definitely check this one out.
This movie is not really great per se, but I really do love it. I've loved this movie pretty much my whole life. We watch it every Christmas, and it's always funny. I'm sick of the Turbo Man. That's all. It's just a stupid doll.
This is not only one of my favorite Christmas movies, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, the character development is fantastic. The characters are just lovable for the most part.
You know, it's got that kind of, it gives you that more realistic, gritty feel, like the holidays and just the stress and stuff that comes from it. But it also has, and it's funny and it's dirty and all that, but it also has a strong message behind it and some really good character growth.
Since Family Guy shows Santa if he was real in a dark and gritty, realistic way, this shows him in a more practical way, and that's what I like about both of these. They show if he was real and showing how realistic it would be. How would he get all the toys around the world?
So I love Green Book. I would say this is my favorite Christmas movie of all time. I love the message of it. I love the friendship, the love, the family.
I mean, had it not been for this, there would never be a Christmas. I like the fact that it takes an accurate approach to the birth of Jesus Christ. And I also like the fact that Oscar Isaac plays Joseph in this movie.
I like the 1951 version. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it on here, so I'm going with this version. But basically, I'm going to be talking about the 1951 version.
The story is so simple, yet it's just timeless, and the characters are amazing. The music is genius, and it's the best stop-motion animation I've ever seen. Just an all-around classic.
The Nightmare Before Christmas is my favorite Christmas movie. I watch it absolutely every Christmas Eve without fail. I love the animation, I love the music in the movie, and it really captures the spirit of Christmas, I think.
When I think of the individual best Christmas performance, it's gotta go to Jim Carrey as the Grinch. When we think of the Grinch nowadays, we always think of Jim Carrey no matter what. He set the bar for any other actor who's gonna reprise that role, and I don't think the film would have worked as well as it did.
Jim Carrey, he brings so much to this role, man. Like, he's awesome as the Grinch.
I don't think I even need to explain myself how, but Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a timeless, stop-motion Christmas classic from my youth.
Kind of weird, but at the same time, it's enjoyably well animated, and even if it is a little rough around the edges at times, it's still just highly enjoyable.
Check this out, my little hot chocolate mug. I mean, technically it's a coffee mug, but I use this for hot chocolate. And this is my shirt. Yeah. This movie is pretty damn awesome. It's insane. It's hilarious.
Oh my god, this movie is funny, hilarious, wacky, crazy, absolutely freaking insane, with Chevy Chase and the quotable lines, and Randy Quaid with his Merry Christmas, shattered full, freaking hilarious movie. I love every minute of it. I watch it every year.
I cannot express to you how this film still manages to make me laugh. It's still heartfelt. And I personally assure you that if you watch this with your loved ones, you're gonna have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye.
Some of those choices, man. I love seeing movies like Arthur Christmas because I think Arthur Christmas is so underrated. And then you throw in films like Jingle All the Way, and while that's not necessarily my favorite, the fact that it's your favorite is awesome. Some great choices, some great responses. Now we are getting into more of the heavy hitters, the one that got responded to more often than not.
God, I just love Austin for doing this, the Burke himself, right? But anyway, Christmas films, Austin. Die Hard is one of my favourite action films, and it is a Christmas film. It's a Wonderful Life is probably the best well-made Christmas film for me. But there's no film that gets me as nostalgic for Christmas than Home Alone 2. I have always wanted to go to New York City. I think this film has a great family dynamic. Yes, it's a copy of the first film, but the hotel scene and everything like that, and the scene at the tree with his mum, oof.
The reason why I picked Home Alone 2 Lost in New York is that I watched it a lot more than the first Home Alone. It still has heart and soul and has one of the best Christmas quotes to me, which is, "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal."
How can you not love the 1992 Home Alone sequel, Lost in New York? This movie is fantastic. I really enjoyed this movie. The sticky bandits are back. Surprise, surprise, Kevin is lost and forgotten again. Poor Kevin, he doesn't get a break.
I have been in love with this movie since I first watched it. I know the animation might not quite hold up, but I really love the adventure and the story that it tells and the message that it has about the power of belief and what the spirit of Christmas really means.
I love this movie. I look forward to it every year in Christmas time. It's a great Christmas movie. I love the musical numbers. Tom Hanks is fantastic.
Not only is The Polar Express my favorite Christmas movie, but it was the very first movie that I ever saw in theaters, so it kind of holds a special place in my heart.
I believe that this film expresses what it's like to believe in Christmas, the spirit and the magic and joy about a kid who doesn't believe, but he's starting to believe, and he goes on this crazy journey with these kids meeting Santa Claus at the North Pole.
And Tom Hanks does a magnificent job of voicing so many characters. And it just shows the magic of Christmas, of how I think it is.
The happiness, the joy, the sharing, the caring, friends and family, you know, just being there for others. The music is good.
But I just watched this for the first time recently, and I haven't felt so overjoyed about a movie in a long time, and I thought it was just excellently made. James Stewart is, of course, fantastic.
Just the messages, the story, everything that goes along with this film, just becoming a better man, a better husband, a better family-oriented person, and just overall just a better person for society.
I love how it's not only Christmas, but tying into the story of what if you were never born and everyone's reaction to it. And I just love Jimmy Stewart and his character's reaction. You just go over his life. You experience the bad stuff that happened and watch him understand that despite all that, there are still good things that he has, and he shouldn't be giving it away.
It's a Wonderful Life is definitely the movie that comes to my mind when I think of Christmas. It's just such a faithful, hopeful, inspiring movie about the things that are important to you or things that can't be bought.
It really just shows such a heartwarming lesson that, like, with people in our lives, we're so complete, and just shows the true meaning of Christmas, and I love it so much.
It just has so much in, like, what it's trying to say, with, like, how your life may be hard, but there are still so many little things that actually make a big difference.
It's plain and simple as that. A Christmas Story, to me, is the best Christmas movie ever. I never get sick of watching it. When they used to show it on TNT for 48 hours, I would put it on there. I would leave it on while I cooked, cleaned, wrapped gifts, whatever it was.
It was soap poisoning. Nothing screams Christmas quite like A Christmas Story. This is my all-time favorite Christmas movie to watch every single year.
I love all the characters, and, you know, it's mainly about Ralphie wanting that Red Ryder BB gun. It's a classic story. It made me want a Red Ryder BB gun, and I guess that's why it's so special to me. It's a childhood favorite, and, you know, it's really funny.
But the one that's always going to have a place in my heart is absolutely A Christmas Story. This movie is just, it's such a classic. I can quote this movie forwards and backwards, and every time that I watch this movie, I will always find something new or interesting that I didn't find.
Perfect film to play literally for 24 hours every year on TBS, because you can leave it on in the background and you can just pick it up at any random moment. And it perfectly captures what it is to be Christmas at every age, from being a little kid to being a young, almost adolescent, to being an adult. And I love everything about this film.
I just love everyone that participated. The passion behind some of those responses are great. Some of my favorite people have been shown so far. I love these Stardusters. If you guys don't have the Stardust app, please go get it. And this is not a promotion. They did not pay me to do this. I'm just doing this because it's a great place to share your opinions about films. And it's the perfect app for something like this because I don't just love giving my responses to other people. I love hearing responses from other people. And they tag me and they hashtag. Thank you guys so much for participating. But we still have some more movies to cover. And the big one, the controversial one, the one that I want to give its own category to, is Die Hard. Is it a Christmas movie? Well, you probably know my thoughts on it because it's in the video.
I don't care what anybody says. It's a Christmas movie. It's one of the greatest action movies ever made. John McTiernan as the director, Bruce Willis as John McClane, badass, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, and one of the best movie villains, Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber. The action is amazing.
My favorite Christmas movie has totally got to be Die Hard because it's one of the best action movies ever.
Well, I disagree with that statement, because as fun as it is to watch a great character like John McClane pick off terrorists one by one, and while I respect it for being one of the first movies to do big action in a small space, The characters make questionable decisions, and the fight choreography boils down to wrestling.
It's Die Hard. Die Hard's my favorite action movie of all time. It takes place on Christmas, so I'm going to say that. I love everything about this movie. The way it's shot, the cinematography, music.
Now I have a machine gun. How? Yeah, that's my awesome Die Hard shirt and my terrible Alan Rickman impression. But yeah, Die Hard's my favorite Christmas movie. It's one of my all-time favorites. And even though I grew up loving stuff like Elf and Home Alone, Jingle All the Way, there was just no way I couldn't pick this one. It's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and it is my favorite Christmas movie of all time. Not only is this a terrific action movie with unforgettable fight sequences, a great hero and villain, and a rich supporting cast, but this movie also has a very unique treatment of the themes of family that you usually see in Christmas movies. John McClane, at his core, is just a guy with a struggling marriage trying to figure out how to reconnect with his family.
I love this movie. It's one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. It's probably the greatest action movie ever made. Bruce Willis kills it. It is a Christmas movie. I will fight you on that. Come at me. I don't care. It's a Christmas movie.
You know, there's a bunch of Christmassy stuff. Yeah, I love this movie so much. The action is fantastic. John McTiernan did an absolutely fantastic job directing this movie, and Bruce Willis and Reginald VelJohnson are like my two favorite characters in this movie.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs. I love this movie. Yes, this is my favorite Christmas movie. It's got Christmas spirit, it takes place at a Christmas party, and it's about a guy trying to kill a bunch of terrorists and save his wife so he can get home to his kids. That's a Christmas movie in my opinion.
And before we get to my favorite Christmas movie, there is one more that you guys are probably thinking about, well, why hasn't this movie been on there? Well, it's coming. I just wanted to give it its own little space because this movie has been talked about and raved about a lot more often than not recently, and we just got a new commercial on YouTube. If you guys haven't seen that, it's him all grown up. We're talking about Home Alone.
I watch this film at least once a year. It truly resonates with me, the antics and pranks and Kevin McAllister and the Wet Bandits, and it's just so much fun, and I truly cherish this film, not only for that, but because of the fact that I related to it so much, because my family would go on vacation right after Christmas every other year, and I would always be terrified of not making my flight or missing my alarm.
Because there's just something about it that I feel like it was just made for me. Like, it's really funny, entertaining, I loved it.
It allowed me to fantasize about his scenario. My family leaves me home alone, and I have to fend off these robbers, and as a person who overthinks everything, it was super exciting to watch these traps and think, oh, what would I do in that situation?
And my favorite Christmas movie is Home Alone because it shows nostalgia, and I'm like literally a kid at heart.
It's such a funny concept and such an endearing story that you can't help but just get wrapped up in it. And I watch this movie every year and I never get tired of it. It's constant laughter nonstop.
I watched this movie recently. Phenomenal. Like, my favorite Christmas movie of all time.
This is just the childhood movie. Kevin McAllister is one of the best characters in cinema history. I love the Christmas spirit of this movie, the message that family is what you need on Christmas. You can't be home alone on Christmas. It's so emotional, also being really funny.
And now for the reveal of my personal favorite holiday/Christmas movie. To anyone who does not celebrate Christmas, whether it's Kwanzaa or Hanukkah, I hope you all are having and or have in the future an incredible holiday season. I hope everything that you want to happen next year happens, and I really hope you guys watch as many movies as possible. Come along with me, join the ride, let's go on a journey, and let's talk about movies and make them very important in 2019. But first, I want you guys to hear some other people's responses about my favorite Christmas movie.
I just go straight for Elf, either on TV or on my movie collection, because I like the story, the Christmas spirit, and even the comedy of this film is spot on.
I can watch it multiple times each year, and it's so good. Will Ferrell is just great as Buddy, and I don't know, this one just makes me really happy and just gets me in the Christmas spirit.
There's so many quotable lines like, oh my god, Santa's coming, I know him. That's one of my favorite lines. So many quotable lines. Like I said, I watch it religiously each year.
Even my dad, who has a grudge against Christmas movies, thought it was decent.
Will Ferrell is the best. He can bring so much energy that nobody can replicate, just like Robin Williams is the genie.
Buddy the Elf is Will Ferrell's most memorable character, and this movie is just so quotable and just, it's got it all. It's got comedy, it's got heart.
1, I grew up with it. 2, I think it's the best comedy of all time. 3, Will Ferrell's amazing. 4, it has a very touching story. This is easily the best Christmas film of all time because it's so touching.
I just think Will Ferrell really steals the show and makes it such an amazing and heartfelt experience, as well as the other characters, and the movie is so funny.
I watch this not just every December, but probably every 3 months, because this movie makes me laugh and it warms my heart, and it made me believe in Santa Claus again, which is a testament that Jon Favreau wove the Christmas spirit into this film. Will Ferrell has played so many funny characters in his career, and he still does, but he's not going to top Buddy the Elf. That's the funniest character.
It is full of heart, it describes what Christmas is all about, and Buddy is one of my favorite characters. I think it is Will Ferrell's best, in my opinion. He is so energetic, so cheerful, and passionate. So I really hope to be more like him.
That's right, you guys should have guessed it. Just from my personality alone, you guys should have known that I love Elf. Love this movie. I will acknowledge that it's not the perfect film, but when we are talking about celebrating the holiday and the realism behind what it means to celebrate Christmas, whether you're talking about people maybe not feeling the holiday spirit, the cheesiness behind the holiday in general, things that go into it from Santa Claus to the elves to the magical creatures, Elf has everything, carried by Will Ferrell's performance and directed incredibly by Jon Favreau. Not a lot of people bring up Elf when they talk about Jon Favreau's most well-directed movies. It is not necessarily one that you think of, but the magic that he captured in this film and the heart and the confliction inside the characters and the relationships and just the humor, one of the funniest movies. Now, it's not a sense of humor that everyone is going to have, and when the movie first came out, it was well-received, but it wasn't well-received like a classic, which this film should be well-received like, and now people looking back upon it, a lot of people will say that Elf is their favorite Christmas movie, and I will also acknowledge that nostalgia has a lot to do with it because I did grow up with this film. I have watched this movie every year since its release in 2004. I believe that is 14 years just constantly on repeat. And I've watched it way more times than that because sometimes I'll throw it on in July, I'll throw it on in August, and it just resonates with me every single time that I watch it. It's so quotable. It's gotten to that point, I know almost every line of dialogue, and it's not just me. My wife, we watched it the other night, and the entire family was just, and I didn't even know these guys even liked Elf. They were just shouting out lines and laughing and having a good old time, and that's what Christmas is all about. It's about celebrating together around something that everything loves, and if it's a tradition like Elf is, great. If it's a game, if it's people getting together and singing, that's awesome. But for me, I love watching a good holiday movie, whether it's A Christmas Story, whether it's Home Alone. Watching a good Christmas movie is always something that makes my day a lot better around Christmas, and I want to thank you guys so much for sharing this experience with me, just seeing everyone's responses and hearing what everyone thinks about their favorite holiday film is just awesome, and I loved everything about doing this video. I love editing it, I love seeing it, and I want you guys, I hope you guys feel the same way. Thank you so much for watching this video. I have a massive week ahead of me. We still have my top 10 best and worst and my most anticipated movies for 2019, and then we begin the new year and we start our new movie reviews and Netflix reviews and everything on the streaming platforms. Hopefully, I will be able to deliver for you guys in 2019. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Now go back, get back to your families, get back to your opening presents. I hope you get everything you want for the holidays, and I'll catch you later.